Howdy, y'all. The first chapter of my fantasy novel, Guardian of Innocence, is now available for free. Click the link in the description below and join me in an old-school good versus evil story where Cole Lares, a disillusioned mercenary, suddenly finds himself dropped into the middle of a destiny he never asked for as the protector of Jania Sarine, a blacksmith's daughter who may hold the answers to finally stopping a millennia-old threat to the world of Rosetta. Cole's perceptions of love, family, trust, loyalty, as well as his very beliefs in fate versus free will shall be tested as he struggles to keep Jania safe from the minions of the dreaded Zabor Tal, former champion of the gods and now ruler of the long-forgotten Yis Empire. Click the link below, enjoy the first chapter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and help it grow so that I can bring you the full story in the near future. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Howdy all, I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd. We have been waiting with bated breath for more information on Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This weekend, we are going to get the official trailer, the real trailer, not that weirdo teaser trailer. This weekend during the Super Bowl, we're going to get the official trailer, and on Monday, I will give my reaction to that. But before that, we got a whole bunch of stuff yesterday. Got a whole bunch of stuff to go along with the weirdo dirty hand pictures from the previous week. What we get? We got a Vanity Fair article. Here's the Vanity Fair article itself. Amazon's Lord of the Rings series rises inside the Rings of Power. One shall rule them all. The first look at the billion-dollar saga set thousands of years before J.R.R. Tolkien's legendary trilogy. Now, remark on that timeline note there, because we're going to come back to that. And note also the wording here, billion-dollar saga. What this officially is, as we're going to see, this is officially billion-dollar fan fiction. Yes, you heard me. This show is officially billion-dollar fan fiction to go with their other multi-million-dollar fan fiction, The Wheel of Time. Yes, you heard me say, why are you talking about The Wheel of Time, Adam? That's done until season 2. You shouldn't be a hater on it. Oh, I'm going to be a hater on it because The Wheel of Time was the forerunner to this disaster. Many other takes you've seen over the past 24 hours didn't bring that in because a lot of people who are doing the takes on this didn't watch The Wheel of Time. I did watch Amazon's Wheel of Time Season 1. I suffered through it for you. For the moment, my reviews are not available. They will be available in another form soon in the future, but for now, they're down for reasons. But it was the red flag. Wheel of Time on Amazon was the canary in the coal mine because it was filled with agenda, and a specific narrative pushing woke agenda. This show is going to be no different. It is pushing the same agenda. And we've already seen that when you push this kind of agenda and you change the story for agenda, true fans of a franchise are going to push back. They're going to revolt. Now, Wheel of Time, as timeless in its right as it is not J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, the foundation of all fantasy literature, all fantasy content in the world. It came first. We're not talking about mythology. We're talking about Lord of the Rings. It is the foundation on which all of us build our literary world because Tolkien did it first. He must always get the acknowledgement. Tolkien did it first. And you shouldn't try to do it better than Tolkien. You should just try to do it yourself in your own way, your own version. But that is the mistake these agenda-driven twits do. Rafe Judkins, showrunner of Wheel of Time on Amazon, thinks he could do it better than Robert Jordan. Robert Jordan never thought he could do it better than Tolkien. He just did his own thing. That's why his world works. But Rafe Judkins thinks he can do it better than Robert Jordan. And the showrunners of Rings of Power think they can do it better than Tolkien. And that's the beginning of the failure, because then it leads that they can do it better, then they can fit in their narrative and fit in their agenda. We've got the Vanity Fair article here, but we're going to use Bounding in the Comments because I can find the dialogue with which I want to comment on much faster. Vanity Fair wrote this puff piece to defend the changes of Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. It's to push back against those of us who say, we don't need exact adaptations. We want it as close as possible. I say that over and over and over again. I never say 1-to-1. I say get me as close as possible. And it will be a success because you will earn my trust and support. You will earn the loyalty of millions of fans who will then carry the banner for your show. But as soon as you break from it, you are going to lose us. Not only does Vanity Fair and by association Amazon Studios attack the Lord of the Rings fans, there you go, but they also reveal that the casting changes were cause for fans to be concerned that if you can't get that right, you won't get the rest right either. And that appears to be the case as Vanity Fair reports that showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have compressed events into a single point in time. That's right, they've completely done away with Tolkien's timeline. So there it is. They think they can do it better than Tolkien. And here's their explanation for it. Again, I have the article, but Bounding into Comics has got the quote for me right here. It's much easier to find. The showrunners explain their decision. If you are a true to the exact letter of the law, you are going to be telling a story in which your human characters are dying off every season because you're jumping 200 years in time. And then you're not meeting really big, important canon characters until season 4. Look, there might be some fans who want us to do a documentary of Middle-earth, but we're going to tell a story that unites all these things because we can do better than Tolkien. Let's go right to the end of the Vanity Fair article because that's an important line there they use. The showrunners clearly have great respect for Tolkien. No, they don't. If you're going to change Tolkien's work, if you're going to alter his timeline to fit in your ideas, and we're going to come to what their ideas are in a moment, but you don't have respect for Tolkien. Right away, if you change the source material, you don't have respect for Tolkien. And here comes the false narrative. This is a false narrative that they always use when it comes to adapting things for TV and movies. You can't make a 50-hour adaptation without taking creative risks. We think the work will eventually speak for itself, Payne says when asked if the fan concern and speculation unnerves him. Before an orchestra starts, audiences will talk to each other, but then as soon as the music begins, you're in and you're listening to that music. You're listening to that music if it's done by a master. When an orchestra's playing a piece, when they're playing Bach, when they're playing Beethoven, they're not changing it. You know what you're sitting down to. When it comes to that point, it's, are they good enough to bring out the full majesty of that music? It's not about going in to change. You're not going to listen to change music. When you're sitting down to watch Lord of the Rings, you're sitting down to watch and enjoy J.R.R. Tolkien's world, not your world, Mr. McKay, because here's what that significant plot details revealed for Lord of the Rings and the Rings and Power. One of the main stories are follow Galadriel, who will warn those around her that evil of the First Age, presumably Morgoth, has not fully been defeated. Those warnings will apparently lead to her being cast adrift on a raft in the Sundering Seas with a man named Halbrand, an original character from the show. This is the beginning of that. This show is filled with original characters created by these showrunners and these hack writers who are in fact connected to J.J. Abrams, the Ravager, the Destroyer, the Antichrist, who pummels and leaves nothing but destruction behind with every franchise he touches. Original character number 1 to pair with Galadriel, who shouldn't even be according to what I've heard. I am not a Lord of the Rings super fan. I'm an average guy who watches movies and enjoys them. Tried to read the books a few times. I can't get past Tolkien's writing style at times, so I always have to go back and try again and again and again. But I'm an average Lord of the Rings fan who appreciates the majesty of what Tolkien created. And I want to see what Tolkien did, not get original characters created by people who don't have an ounce of his talent. Another thread of the show will be about a group of hobbits called Harfoots who have been changed. We'll just say changed. I'm trying to use certain language these days to get through certain gauntlets that I'm trying to push through. They've been changed, and changed in a way that Tolkien never intended. In the prologue of Fellowship Ring, Tolkien described the Harfoots, stating, before the crossing of the mountains, the hobbits had already become divided into three somewhat different breeds: Harfoots, Stoors, Fallowhides. Now, this is just a description of Tolkien's words, what they looked like, what they did, and where they went. The group of Harfoots in the Rings of Power, which includes two women played by Megan Richards and Markella Kavanaugh, will encounter a mysterious lost man. Okay, so again, we are creating characters that had no actual place. We're creating specific named characters that did not exist in Tolkien's works, simply to tell, as it says right here, a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead type of story, fill in the background. So what that is a reference to is, of course, in Hamlet, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are the messengers who were sent back and forth to relay messages between the powers that be. And there is a version of the story of Hamlet called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, where you see the entire epic of Hamlet through their eyes, of the in-between things, the shadowy parts, where we aren't following Hamlet on his journey of revenge. That's what this is supposed to be. Nobody asked for that. Nobody cares about that. But we're going to write original characters to shtup in there. And then there's this. The third storyline, a Sylvan elf named Arondir and his forbidden romance with a human villager named Bronwyn. Gee, this sounds like CW garbage. CW garbage. Also, here's something that actually is interesting. They plan to show Celebrimbor, who made the rings, though the elf who was tricked by Sauron into crafting the rings of power. Not the One Ring, because Sauron did that in secret, as we all know, but Celebrimbor. This entire first season should just be about Celebrimbor and the deception of Sauron. That would be a compelling story about a single man who gets tricked into creating the items that nearly destroy the entire world. There's your story for season 1. And they're locked into 5 seasons. As it says right here at the beginning of this article, Amazon show, which debuts on Prime Video Simultaneously, is based on not on Tolkien novel per se, but the vast backstory is laid out in the appendices in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. 5 seasons. They've already booked this for 5 seasons. That's why it says 50 hours, 10 episodes, an hour a pop, basically. They are creating fake story to fill 5 seasons of just historical text. Paragraphs that just tell you the events that happened with maybe an important name here and there. So again, we're going to get Elrond's backstory, which I don't know if Tolkien really gave us Elrond's backstory, but we're going to get Elrond's backstory. So they're going to warp Elrond like they're going to warp Galadriel, actual character names. And the series will feature a sailor named Isildur. Isildur is the man who used the shards of Narsil to cut the one from the hand. That's Isildur, the son of the king, takes the sword, cuts the ring off the hand of Sauron. And there's one more part. Where is it here? I think I blew past it. And here's this part right here. Here's the other one. I couldn't find it in the other articles, but here it is. They then created a dwarven princess who has been changed, named Disa. Played by Sophia Namvet, is another new character created for the series. She is pictured looking majestic in her royal garments, standing at Khazad-dûm's entrance. Arondir also puts on another appearance in the quiet village of Tirahad, where he is joined by a human villain named Bronwyn. Okay, I'm out of the game, but it's basically they're creating a story in Moria about dwarves that doesn't happen with character. Only one character is actually a real character, but they're creating more fake characters. That's why I call this billion-dollar fan fiction. That's why this is billion-dollar fan fiction. Fan fiction happens when you take something created by somebody else and significantly alter it without their permission. Now, granted, you can't get Tolkien's permission. The man has been dead for decades upon decades, and his heirs, those who are in charge of it, those who were appreciative of it, aka his son, Christopher Tolkien, has also passed on. So his heirs don't care. This is third generation control of the property. They don't care. Tom Shippey, the preeminent Tolkien scholar, is no longer is not involved with this project anymore. Those who can give proper permission, those who can give a good check mark of, yes, this is in the spirit of Tolkien, are not involved. And that is why I say it's fanfiction. Because like I said, fanfiction is when you take something from another creator and you alter it to fit your odd designs. I've written fan fiction. I've changed things. I've added things in my own time. And that's why it's called fan fiction. That's why the Star Wars Expanded Universe is not fan fiction, because George Lucas was involved in it. This is billion-dollar fan fiction. The Wheel of Time on Amazon was multi-million-dollar fan fiction. This was seen coming a mile away. We saw this was going to happen. If you watched The Wheel of Time, you knew that these people care more about their agenda, more about their narrative, more about proving that they are actually creative when they're not. They don't care about giving a good product. They care about pushing things with their narratives woven in. And I'm sorry to say, Lord of the Rings will now suffer the same fate as everything else has for the past 6-7 years now. I'm sorry to true hardcore Lord of the Rings fans. What you're going to get now is going to be a likely abomination on the level or perhaps even worse than what we saw with the Wheel of Time, because Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings, one of the biggest franchises of all time. All right, I'm done. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, a like would be appreciated. If you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm going to give you facts and logic to earn your trust and support. My facts, actual facts and logic, do not care about your fifis. Hit the notification button. Share my videos around if you like what I'm preaching. And by all means, leave a comment. I love to hear from real people who can have a different opinion and still find common ground and get along. We are not stands. We are not SJWs who are cowards behind keyboards. I don't care what they think. I will never care what they think. And if we stop paying attention to them, they will fade away because they have no real power. So thank you again for watching. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I don't do Facebook. I will never do Twitter. If you want to reach out to me, email me at therennerd@gmail.com. I'm on Getter now, @therennerd. The Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can also follow me on Odyssey @TheRenaissanceNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.